Thank you everyone, and also especially thank you to the team to introduce this session perfectly. So hello everyone, we are enjoying the second amazing week of the COP29 today. Especially, this is the session to discuss the empowering climate action through education, closing knowledge and skills gap. So this is, my name is MJ, Mijeong Park, research professor of Kyunghee University, South Korea, and today's MC and moderator. And we have special panelists today. Here in the stage, we have the two ladies expert on the education sectors. I'd like to introduce the simple information. First, the Mrs. Chen Lee, the CEO of Down Education Technology. And also Ms. Gayatri Chauhan, founder and CEO of BuzzOnEarth, and also president of the Gaia, the Earth Foundation. Welcome to the stage. And also we have the two more panelists virtually online. Ms. Marianne Lariviere. All connection is okay for you? Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay, welcome. And also we have also the Mr. Peter Kent. Can you hear me well?
Yes, thank you very much. Great to be able to join with everybody today.
Thank you for joining this session as a panelist. Thank you very much. Okay. Nowadays, the world requires a much broader green skills, which is social, emotional, and cross-sectoral. Not only the technical and also sector specific skills. And also here, the great movement that is the leading the proactive climate action. Do you know what it is? That is the one of the slogan, caring and sharing and daring. Actually, the caring the human being and nature, and sharing all kind of the knowledges, and also daring for the impossible goals. So this is the core value of the UN Climate Change Global Innovation Hub, and also this is a core value of the leaderships leading the transformative climate action. And also there is some keywords, really key elements: information, knowledge, and capability, and willingness, and also confidence. They are requested for the effective climate action, actually. So if there are gap on any of these, the education need to be need to contribute to fill the gap. So it means that the scope of the education must be broader to cover the all sector of all different sector. So today, these including these elements and also this kind of the movements, we were gonna discuss about the empowering actually. So for the discussion, hopefully I'd like to have the 3 round of the questions with my beautiful panelists. So first of all, I'd like to give you the one important questions to all of my panelists. So where do you see the significant gap and why? So we would like to start from the Mrs. Cindy, please.
Thank you. Hello. Hi, everyone. Very happy to be here today. Thank you, MJ, for your question. So I think the gap is vast. And I think there's a gradual transition from previously like traditional economy to a climate and sustainable economy in all sectors. So the gap is basically not just in schools, in practitioners within the climate industry, but also I think it is a huge gap for everyone. To everyone, it's all about broader public members. From the education perspective, I think there's nobody would disagree that education is not important. Right. So I think it's a great function that we can play as our role as an educator.
Education is really important. However, our recognition on the education and also the effort on that education is really rare. So thank you very much. And also Gayatri.
Hello, good evening, everyone. And thank you, Cindy. That was a good, start. And thanks, MJ, for the introductions and setting the context for today's session. So, no doubt about that. Education certainly has a very, very critical role to play. And you played it out very interestingly. The first and foremost would be the gap in willingness itself. And that actually transcends from leaders to diplomats to businesses to the think tanks to the students and the community at large. So the first and foremost gap that education needs to really bridge, according to me, would be the bridge to create that willingness, that earnest desire to do something meaningful in the space of climate action. That is one. Second would be, of course, the knowledge and skills gap, which I'm sure that any stream of education has a way to contribute in some way or the other in order to make a meaningful difference. Whether you're studying archaeology or you're studying architecture or you're studying history, there is a way you will be able to find out. And of course, science and technology gives you immense landscape to experiment and come up with new solutions. However, the willingness part, as I said, needs to be the first thing to be coming in. And the third point is about confidence. That is the belief that we will be able to solve it. Instead of presenting a doomsday scenario and trying to play a blame game in the whole climate change picture, if you're able to present a hopeful situation and say that if you do this, you will be able to make a difference. Even if it is a tiny difference, it will be happening because of the tiny amount of effort that you're going to put in. So that confidence needs to be awakened in the young minds, and education can really play a big role in that.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, there is really many points we need to deal with at once. However, yes, we need to find out that how we can handle with education systems now today here to get together. Okay, let's move on to the participants online. First, we go with the Marianne. Marianne, please take your floor.
Well, thank you for inviting me to very essential panel session. Can you hear me well?
Oh, sound is really low. So could you please turn up your
Okay.
sounds?
I'm doing my best. It's at the top level. Can you hear me well now?
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for this very important session on the gaps. I mean, this very important question, because right now, we are in the decisive decade to take action and to curb the carbon emissions. This will actually really determine the future scenarios. And so I see a very important gap in the tertiary education, the higher education, where right now we don't really have climate education being mainstream in all curricula across all disciplines. And so it's, there is a great demand from youth, from the students. Now there is a growing demand from the industry, from the economy, and in between, the higher education system does not fulfill its mission, which is to prepare young people for the future, to empower them to be successful and impactful in the future. So that's the first thing. The second point I'd like to address is how to give the desire to engage, to mainstream climate education and to engage in climate action. And for this, we need innovative pedagogies. Climate literacy is not enough. Climate literacy would speak to our left brain, while actually, innovation and adaptation requires some engagement from our right brain. That's behavioral science. And so we need to really find innovative pedagogy that will foster creativity, teamwork, and also nature-inspired solutions. Because you can't take care of what you don't like, and if we foster this love for nature, love for our environment, then the engagement is more fluid, is more logical and natural. So that's, for me, the three things we insist a lot usually on climate literacy, but I'd like to emphasize also creativity and nature-inspired solutions and collaboration.
Thank you, Marianne. Thank you. And Peter, could you please take your stage?
Thank you very much. Just checking everyone can hear me well.
Yes, I can hear you well.
Oh, that's right. I'm a former school principal, so I'm known for having a very loud voice, like many school leaders. I would say the biggest gap that I'm aware of actually is one of connectivity, because it was very interesting when I asked for examples of innovative or transformative practices across our network that makes up the International Confederation of Principals, which is school leadership associations around the world. I was literally inundated with examples of excellent practice, both by individual teachers, individual schools, and individual leadership associations. But the biggest challenge that came through was closing the gap between what's happening on the ground, the work of policymakers, the work of those who are active climate activists, the work of business. And there's a danger of each group working in something of a silo and not being fully aware of what the other is doing. So it's fantastic to be part of this event and to hear already the great points that Marianne and various and others who've already contributed have made. And the gap is to keep working on connection so that we're all aware of what each other is doing. We're not operating in isolation, and so that we can work together, and particularly that we can work together to capture the very effective, innovative, interesting, creative practice that is happening on the ground, and that sometimes we're not aware of, so that we can share it and spread it more widely.
Thank you, Victor. Really, we can see there is still many challenges and problems in our education sector. So panelists highlighted many keywords we need to develop and then deep dive into that, the sectors to make some solutions among us. So to fill this gap we mentioned and we're considering right now. So Ms. Shinley and Peter aligned, how do you see the role that education can play in fostering transformative the climate and sustainability innovation? First, Shinley, we will start.
Right. Thank you. And thank you, Peter. Great to see you online. We had the very best part of discussing on this topic last year. So education plays the pivotal role in fostering transformative climate and sustainability innovations by closing knowledge gaps, and also ultimately we want to shifting behaviors through education, providing necessary skills for green transitions. It is through education that individuals and communities can better understand the causes and impacts of climate change. Therefore, it's just like you just mentioned about people always wondering, is there a hope in maybe 30 or 50 years time? Yes, I think so. There's definitely a hope because we have a group of people, talents across the globe working on this crisis. But I think we must have a very actionable plan. And as educators, we can really equipping people with the right tools and mindset, inspiring a wide range of climate-friendly actions. So there are examples have already been done across continents. I want to just share something. Climate-focused curricula are, being implemented in some schools, universities, continents, and with the support from governments. For example, one of the example I for today is that originally I'm from China and been educated in the UK for 17 years. And now as a postgrad research student at Cambridge University, I think there's very good guidelines from initiatives that's been done. For example, China Reform Committee, the National Development and Reform Committee, published a guidelines for accelerating the green transition in economic and social development. And they have particularly mentioned the technical innovation. For example, Duke University and Wuhan University, Kunshan Duke University in China, they have a reputation about leading the breakthrough low carbon and zero carbon, negative carbon research technologies. And they also suggested from the government of China, there's a need to prioritize policy research as well. So the knowledge gap between policymakers and university researchers and fellow teaching staff, etc. So there's a strong requirement for a fundamental shift in both policy logic and framework being correctly or interpreted by the right people. Therefore, we would be able to know what we can do as educators or facilitators. The last one about talent development, it is crucial. For example, China is facing a shortage of 1 million climate professionals. 1 million, that's a lot. Consequently, many Chinese universities have established carbon-related majors such as carbon management, carbon storage, etc. They are trying to making bigger capabilities for subjects relating to climate. However, I think there's a huge chance and opportunities for other subjects. For example, now we are seeing a lot of interdisciplinary research subjects, including maybe transportation and sustainability, and also as well as the cultural, the humanities subjects, and including my research within English language and assessments, how we could play our role to integrate climate-related issues into the research and curricula, trainings, and studies. Thank you. That's a lot.
Yes, amazing. Thank you very much for sharing that kind of the role of education. So Peter, is there any other role of the education to fulfill the gaps or we can count on?
Thank you. Yes, what I'd like to share is very much so complements what my friend Sinli has already said, and lovely to work with Sen again. When I asked my colleagues in the international leadership community about this point, they overwhelmingly felt that the big change, the big impact that education could have was actually in transforming attitudes. As one of my leadership colleagues said, when schools teach young people about environmental issues and how to solve them, they build a generation that can take action to save our planet. So the biggest impact that education can have, the biggest transformative impact, is in transforming attitudes. And all sorts of examples came from across our network, whether it was students in South Africa doing experiments to see how climate had changed over a period of time, pupils in Australia working to implement a plan to control bushfires, but was being implemented across the state of Victoria, pupils in Argentina who were doing work on AI to model future climate scenarios and how they could be altered if they made different decisions. Pupils in Holland learning about the impact of plastic on our oceans and what they could do about it. And one of the most common ways in which that transformation could be shown was by harnessing and unleashing the power of student voice and hearing about the impact of student councils and eco groups and allowing the students themselves to act as advocates for that transformed future that we're talking about. So I think there's a great deal of creativity going into that transformative innovation that we're thinking about. And one of the most powerful things we can do is to educate pupils and then let them be the voices as the citizens of the future.
Yes, thank you. I totally agree with your the opinions. The building generation is really important. That is really related on to the giving the willingness and also make them desire to do something for better future together. And also they with their voices and they can act by their own inner with their inner purposes from their own directions, their own set and goals for that. Yes, really. So because of this, education is really pivotal role to our achieving our goals. So we need to set the goals and act with right strategies according to them. So Miss Marianne and Gayatri, how do you see that the theory of change linking education and climate action? So we need to see that goal and our strategy and also our beginning, the moments we need to consider that. So while you describe the theory of the changes, can you please address that? What is needed input and what is expected as output? So let's go first with the Gayatri, please.
Sure. The theory of change that would be at the intersection of education and the impact that it would have on climate action would first of all emanate from the fact that climate action will yield results. That is at the foundation. And then comes the right kind of mindset development. And if you look at, we have, the organization that I run, Gaia, the Earth Foundation, has a specific vertical that focuses on developing and empowering young minds for being an active voice for climate action. And not just the voice, but also creating solutions for that. And the theory of change, I will be talking about the theory of change that we have adopted. I may not be able to talk in a very generic sense right now, but so what we have done is we have thought about that in a very holistic manner. That first and foremost, the right mindset is needed in the young children. And when I say young children, I'm actually looking at because the target audience for us for young students would be grade 6 to 12 in the K-12 category, and then higher education. So that is right from undergrad to the PhD students. So there are separate programs that we run for both the categories. However, coming back to the foundation things, when it comes to changing the mindset, so we run a program called Youth Leadership Program, where they are given the right kind of soft skills as well as the leadership skills that would not only help them overcome their own inhibitions, but will also help them see things holistically and develop that systems thinking approach and systems thinking mindset, see the interconnectedness of this complex world that we live in, and see how these things that they're studying in the classrooms, how that can be applied. So that comes as the first stage where we really lay a lot of emphasis on this program for developing the right skills. The second is about educating them about the climate related science. And whether it is regeneration, conservation, the science-based evidence, all of that. So that is the second program where we teach them very specific climate-related knowledge. And the third is we give them a platform to make their voices heard. So it is run under India MUN, that is a pan-India level Model United Nations, which is a nationally, I would say, powerful forum where millions of students, I mean, are touched and reached in some form or the other. And since it is a digital platform, there is no dearth of participation. And we have a network of 28,000 schools, and students from these schools actually participate and they get to express. In fact, this year we did a wonderful program 2 months back, and there were two councils set up. One was Climate Innovation Council and the second was Loss and Damage Fund Council. And you would be surprised to see the papers that came out of that. Students were able to come up, they did their research, they came up with their own position papers, then they came up with their own findings and the overall suggestions that what could be done at the global forum. So getting them involved in these very active and important discussions, that also is a very important step in the whole process. And the last part is that on spurring innovation in a very systematic manner. So we believe in systemic innovation, and that is why we are also engaged very closely with UGIH. And what we are trying to do here is we conduct national level hackathons. And these hackathons are meant to create solutions for real existing problems. And for instance, just recently we concluded a hackathon that was leveraging AI for sustainable development of cities, and that engaged higher education students, and it was for them to combine their understanding about urban systems and the challenges that are faced in the urban communities, how AI can be leveraged in order to solve that. And that gives them a very good, as you said, interdisciplinary way to approach a problem and then look at solutions from a very, very holistic and collaborative manner. And they do not collaborate only with the students from other institutions, they also collaborate with the policy makers, they collaborate with the administrators of the cities and really get to the depth of the problem. So these are some of the things that we have imbibed in our theory of change in trying to inculcate how education can be very effectively supporting climate action.
Very specific ideas and programs that you introduced for us as with the holistic manners as your education for the touching every sectors and also including the scientific or practical or innovative systems kind of things actually. So that is really effective and then well matched with our the daring the goals to get together. Okay, so Marianne, it's your floors. Could you please share your ideas about the how can we apply for the theory of these changes onto the education? Thank you.
Yes. Well, the theory of change is really about having impact and measuring also the impact of education. And we want to, I work as also sustainable professor of sustainable innovation in design school, which has put sustainability, climate adaptation, climate mitigation at the heart of its curriculum. And it does not only provide climate literacy, and a systemic approach at issues, but it works closely with public and private organizations in the region, but also, at the national or international level, that comes to the school with real issues and gives the opportunity for the students to really work closely with the organization on first researching the issue, and then, ideating about solution, prototyping, testing the solution with the organization to really, at the end, co-construct a meaningful and impactful solution for that will actually have a real impact. So it's a win-win situation. because of course the school and the students provide, their innovative method, to share their innovative method with the organization, such as biomimicry, circular economy, frugal innovation, also integrating AI, for instance, in the innovation. So they come with all this knowledge that they receive at the school, and they share it. But on the other hand, they get real feedback from the field about, what is feasible, how will people receive, and also a possibility of experimenting, prototyping their solutions. And the students are very, very enthusiastic about this partnership. They are, very motivated. They can really work late to try to find some solution, because they are engaged. They are in demand of this interaction, of having, positive impact on this complex issue. So it's a win-win situation. And we also observe that it attracts a lot of women. We have 75% students who are women. And at the end of their curriculum, they can choose their own topic for their diploma. And they would usually go back to working with a city. For instance, I have students who will address the consequences of climate change in a hometown in the US. Or with a particular organization. And I have another students who will work closely with the maritime industry to reduce, the carbon emission in this industry. So they are actually, during their education, engaged in this process of collaboration and measuring impact.
Thank you very much for your very deep insight. And my understanding is that we are just seeing that the education is just sharing the information. Not all, yeah. Actually, that is not very the very gap between education we are thinking right now on our stage, and also and thinking about the education from out there. So we need to reduce that kind of the gap, recognition gap as well, actually. So now we are talking about how we turn the information, sharing information into that, the share the real experiences, and also they making them to see the real situation, also the real any stories, what's going on in the global level, not inside of the school, and also the out there, everywhere out there of the school. So that kind of the experiences in an education, real education, make them get some power to move forward by themselves. So that we can call that empowering. So let's move on to the empowering, another important keywords of the education sector. So the empowering the climate action by of students, not only the students, actually all human beings living in the world, so including the formal school system and also the lifelong learning system, all kind of the education systems we can think at all in nowadays right now. So let's let me give you the one more questions about the empowering. How empowering can contribute in fulfilling the gap we are considering right now, and also additionally, what is the importance of the empowering in the education and why? So this question is for every my lovely panelists. So let's start from the virtual participants first for this time. So Mr. Peter Kent, could you please start?
Yeah, very happy to. Thank you. I was just thinking of a few examples of that empowering I've come across within the experience of our network. For example, in Kenya, the government and the School Leadership Association, KESHA, the Kenyan Secondary Heads Association, are working to make schools aware about the choices they make in the fuel that powers and the schools, why it's better to move away from burning wood onto different choices. In another part of our network, the Principals Association of Nepal are working with various agencies to teach schools about why they need to make sure that they are built near sources of clean water and away from areas where there could be earthquakes, particularly given the continuing impact of climate change upon the area. So schools have been empowered by having information shared with them in a way that the students can also access and that they then take forward, just in the way that we've said, so that they can then act as advocates for the information that has been shared with them. So we need to make sure, not that we're just doing a top-down model where schools are told what to do, but information is shared with them, just like those examples from Kenya and Kathmandu. And then, as we've said earlier, the students can act as the best possible advocates, having been empowered, having been infused, to take things forward further.
Thank you very much. Marianne?
Yes, well, I mean, to me, empowering, students is, of course, giving them, the right knowledge, but also the curiosity to and the reference where to find the right information. And it's very important at this time of, disinformation. And a lot of confusion sometimes on some topics, including climate, to really point out at the right source of knowledge, the reliable source of knowledge, and there the UN system and university plays a very, very important role. Especially given that we are in a very dynamic environment, and that we will have, the students will have to update their knowledge on a regular basis, because the situation is very evolutive and absolutely not static. The second thing is also, as Peter was talking, a right attitude is important. So ethics, what are your values? What are the ethics that you will also apply in your work? And so, that's also something that can be ingrained during the studies in the education system, that will actually inspire action later on. And we need people who care for the other. We need more empathy, more collaboration. Climate is teaching us that we are all interdependent. And so that's also something that is part of the empowerment process. And then, of course, there are a lot of innovation methods. Knowledge sharing is absolutely essential. And yes, the empowerment at the end is the confidence that you can act, you can actually be part of the action, and the positive make a positive difference in the world.
Thank you very much. Gayatri?
Yeah. So according to me, I think empowerment definitely is very, very essential, because empowerment inspires action, and empowerment also gives them the right lead or headway to get things done. Because it's not just, so for anything to happen, first and foremost, we have to start expecting, right? So having the right expectations, setting the right expectations is the key. So, in this whole concept of empowerment, I think there are 4 E's that are important. First will be setting the right expectations. So, from the youth and from the entire system of education, I would say having the right expectation would be the key. Second would be the education. They have to be really imparted the right education and the tools and the skills that are needed to get to the solutions. so that there is a very clear definition of problem statement or solution. And there are enormous problem statements out there, but making a choice of what I'm able to contribute towards, what I can really focus on, that choice one has to make. The third E will be about exposure, because once they're having the right goal set in front of them and right education, they need to have the right kind of exposure that would make them really feel that uh, where the world is headed and what kind of solutions are working, what is not working, what are the obstacles, what are the bottlenecks, and they will be able to holistically perceive the whole problem. And the fifth E will be about expression. That is letting them really get a platform to express themselves. And even if it is a wrong thing, they should have the right, what I should say, visibility as well as confidence to express it. There are no rights and wrongs over here. We are all experimenting from that mindset. So that is very important. So these are the 4 E's around which I would really want to center the whole empowerment, system for education.
Right. Thank you. Oh, very insightful discussions. I want to share about the youth-led initiatives. Youth activists empowered by educational platforms. They are leading global movements. For example, Fridays for Future. These initiatives show the power of education in inspiring young people to take action on climate change. There's some examples I want to share, or 3 stories I want to share. I'll try to make it short. It's first one is I was in University of Pennsylvania May this year for the graduation of 2024. I was visiting one of my former students. So they had a project on using their own subject area knowledge. For example, you are an engineer, so you could design maybe a car or something. And for students from maybe hospitality or management or design, and they work together on a project for as a final year project, and they have a competition and have the award afterwards. So students will vastly contributed to the competition, and I saw they are creating great products, and they had a showroom displaying their designs, including maybe earphones, and that is also sustainable and green. So I think it's very important for them to have like student-centered initiatives because we want to encourage them to contribute, and they have to have their voice, no matter if it's wrong or sometimes naive. That's the way we learn and we grow, we process. The second one is I want to share the Global Alliance of Universities on Climate, which was formed in January 2019 in Davos, Switzerland, during the annual meeting of WEF. There were initially 8 universities jointly issued a statement representing a commitment to establish the alliance. The founding members include Australia National University, University of California, Berkeley, University of Cambridge, Imperial College London, etc. All the top universities joined this alliance. And I want to share the mission of them is to advance climate change solutions through research, education, and public outreach, to partner with industry, nonprofit, and government organizations to promote rapid implementation from local to global scales. So we are currently, as an educator and also a business founder training provider myself, we are discussing potential projects that we can pursue the mission and promoting exchange and cooperation among member universities providing leaderships of global higher education efforts. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, the education issue is really, really important issue. So as you feel the same things, the time 1 hour is really short time to discuss and bring everything so we are considering and also discuss together and then bring some the solutions for this. However, for the last moments we can use to share about your insight about how the maximize the effect the education, the role of the education to fill the gap. So we need to try to build more decent program, and also we'd like to change our school systems or education systems, and also to mobilize the more resources from out there, including the financial resources and also that the human resources kind of things. So to maximize the effect of the education, we need to cooperate radically with the other sectors. The mostly we need to extend the collaboration with the climate sectors and also other the policy sectors and also other the private the industrial sectors, including all kind of the aspects. What is your insight to to build more radical collaboration among the all stakeholders? So this is a question for the all panelists and the last questions for that. And also we have the time limit left. We have more, so I'd like to give the 1 minute by panelist will have for this question. Also, additionally, you can add one paragraphs or one catchphrases or your last comments on our sessions at the end of your the sharing insights. So okay, so yeah, Gayatri.
Thank you, and I'll not take more than a minute. So I think most important thing from that standpoint would be to promote more and more industry academia collaboration. And that I would suggest, because there's so much of amazing research happening, and when it comes to translating that research into real solutions, there are gaps out there. And if there is dedicated system laid out there with funds, with the right kind of ecosystem to experiment and even do the prototyping, and there are avenues to make it happen. So if that is promoted as a dedicated and concerted action from the state actors as well as the governments, it would really yield amazing results, and it will give much more meaning to education as a contributor to this space.
Yeah. I also want to share a short story, just within 1 minute. So the earlier this year, QS University Ranking has published this year's new ranking list of universities. So this time there's a significant change of the top 3 universities from the UK, which Imperial College took place number 1. And the reason why they were number 1, because they have a indicator. They have so they had 99.7 score in sustainability, and that's really interesting, because second day Oxford and Cambridge University started to ask students bring their own lunch boxes instead of using one time or using canteen provided for lunch. So they have actions relating to the results. I think that the associations or policymakers could really take this opportunity and to instill their aim of facilitating green targets. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much, Cindy. So let's move on to the Marianne. Miss Marianne, please.
Well, from my side, I will just address part of the question on a particular topic, which is, prevention of climate disasters. Because right now, we have tools which are global tools, which allow us to predict much more accurately extreme weather events, and moreover, what the impact of these weather climate events will have all over the world. So this is available information, and how to make it available to the schools around the world, and particularly in the most vulnerable countries. So it's a kind of, ideas thrown that main idea is a radical collaboration to make this knowledge about climate impact and better climate adaptation available to the school worldwide. And I think that if this is achieved, this will save life, and this will also help communities to be more resilient.
Thank you, Marianne. Peter, please.
Thank you. 1 minute on radical collaboration. Keep going with events like these. School leaders were delighted, colleagues in schools were delighted that there was this opportunity for us to be involved in today's event and other events like it. We're really keen to keep going with that connection. Policymakers, I think, need to do more to put climate education at the centre of the curriculum. It's something that's been done, for example, in Kenya through their Green Initiative, and there needs to be more of that. And we need to look at ways in which we can share and work together so that the skills of those involved in the climate system can be shared more easily in schools, and also that voice, that energy of the pupils can be unlocked and shared more widely. So the more we can connect, the more powerful it will be. My minute's up.
Thank you very much. Thank you, all my panelists, actually. So let me close our discussion sessions here. However, education is crucial in tackling the climate crisis, actually. So I just be shared about really decent idea just before in this session. The technologies transfer the truth, and truth transfer the something in our mind. However, that is not enough to bring us the action. Action is coming from the heart. So we need to transfer, education sector need to transfer every information knowledge into the language our hearts can understand. So education is really need to be the center for the cross-sectoral leaders. So we need to education need to be the center. So let's be the center together. So thank you very much, all panelists and everyone in this room. Thank you for joining us. Have a good night. If that is possible, virtual participants can join on the screen to take a picture together here. They are still online?
Yeah, still here.
Yeah, Peter and Marianne, are you still online? Okay.
That would be great.
Thank you, Marianne. Thank you, Peter. Yes, thank you very much. Have a good night or your day or night.
Thank you again. Thanks for a chance to take part. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.